This is my 2017 991.2 Carrera. It's a base. Today I'm going to be installing the Vektor Air Oil Separator. Whether you have the base, the S, or the GTS makes no difference at all. So let's get started. First, a quick look at everything that I'm going to be using. There are all the various Vektor parts, and then some random tools that I need, including a flathead screwdriver, a very sharp razor blade, E10 Torx, a 7mm socket, and all the other goodies to get my wheels off and also to keep my hands clean. So let's get going. So here's a look at the work I've got to do here. First things first, I've got to remove this clamp here. That's with an E10 Torx. Then I'm going to remove this clamp here, or just loosen this hose clamp, and we'll just pull this whole hose off. Looks like a fairly straightforward job. Just a note on the reason why I'm doing this. I track my car maybe 8 times a year, and I'm worried about the oil blow-by that occurs. So I'll be real curious to see, once I get this thing opened up, whether or not there is oil sitting in the turbo inlet like we've seen so many times before. So let's get to work on this. All right, so I took the hose off. That took all of about 30 seconds to do. First thing I noticed was that there's some oil here, and also down at the bottom. It's a little harder to see, but most definitely, I'm going to try to sneak in here. You can see that there's oil in the inlet. So clearly I'm getting some blow-by. Again, this is likely because I'm tracking the car, at least driving it real hard. If you're just daily driving this thing, probably less of a concern for you. But if you do carve canyons, then maybe it's something you want to consider getting. All right, I'm going to continue disassembling. So I'm going to take this quick connect off. Then I'm going to measure 4.5 inches on this hose right here and tape it off, as they say, and then we'll give it a cut. So I'll be back in a second to show you how I did that. All right, so a little camera repositioning. Hopefully you can see this better. It might come out kind of dizzying in the first couple of shots, but I've marked 4.5 inches on this hose, and I've marked kind of from that ridge right there, if you can see that. So 4.5 inches, and if you look, there's a little red mark there. I just had a construction pencil that I used to mark that, and I've taped this off with some electrical tape. So let's go ahead and make the cut. By the way, have a brand new razor. Only used it for open a piece of plastic, and that was it. So let's try to give this thing a cut, if I can, without destroying my car or my camera. Okay, that was fairly easy. I wish it was straighter, but you know, good enough for government work. It's good enough for me. And interestingly, if you can see there, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but lots and lots of oil. Doesn't that suck? All right, let me clean this up, and I'll be back with the Vektor parts to put on. All right, so I'm back, and I had a couple of challenges, to be honest with you. I don't know if you can see here, but this hose cover is a real son of a gun to peel back. The instructions from Vektor just say to peel it back. Well, it was not at all easy for me to do that. You can see all the frayed ends here with me trying to peel it back. It just did not want to move at all. I ended up taking some scissors and snipping very carefully just to kind of get a start on it, to make it a little bit looser. I'm going to trim all these ends off just to kind of clean it up a little bit. I also measured, and you need roughly 7/8 of an inch to get all the way into this hose. Vektor says you need to go all the way into the bottom until it stops. I can't tell if it stops, but I had a little over an inch of space here, and you can see that I'm basically out of space except for up in this area where I cut it. So I was going to show you me installing that, but yeah, that was a bit of a bitch, so that's not happening. So anyway, I will get this finished installed. It's supposed to be facing out in this manner, and I will tighten down this clamp. Just a note, before you install this, don't forget to put the clamp on first. I put mine on the hose and just push it up out of the way. You could put it on here, but that might be in the way a little bit. But don't forget to do that. It would really stink to get this thing on. Have to pull it off just to put this put the clamp on again. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute when this is all wrapped up. Okay, so I've got the Vektor supplied connector in and installed. I've tightened the hose clamp. I've trimmed this up just a little bit. Just a word of advice: it's a lot easier to use or to tighten this with a socket than it is with a screwdriver. In my case, it was 8mm, just attached to this hand driver device and tightened her up. It's a little too tight in here to show you how to connect it, but it's super simple. This is a quick connect. All you have to do is snap it in until it locks. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this and get the clamps tightened up, and I'll be back. All right, so a couple of notes here. I went and tightened up this clamp real well. That worked out good. One note here is, you'll know when this is all the way in. This little lip actually meets right there. If you don't meet it all the way in, you're not snug up enough. So I did that. I tightened her up, so we're all set here. Everything looks pretty good to go. One little oddity here is this thing doesn't, the Vektor oil air separator doesn't point exactly down. It kind of pops up a little bit like this. I'm not sure why that is, if it's something I did wrong, or if that's just the way it is. There's obviously some play in the line. So the next step is to I don't know what they're going to call it, a little harness that we have here to attach. So I'll show you that, and then I will get that installed. So if you get under the car, and you can see, if you can see, here's, whoops, there's the air oil separator right here, and then this is what we're going to undo, and we're going to attach, sorry for the waviness folks, we're going to attach this guy to that, and based on what I can see from Vektor's picture, it should go up like this. So I'm going to get that done and tie it off with zip tie, and then we'll fire the car up and see if there are any leaks. Wish me luck. Okay, so we are 100% successful. The air oil separator is in. You can see here that the heavy duty zip tie is on. You can't see, but right behind is where that little bracelet they gave is. And so it's tied up there, and it is quite stable. It's not going to go anywhere. Remember to make sure this is closed, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, otherwise you're going to be dripping oil as opposed to collecting. All in all, this was an hour-and-a-half job, and that included stopping to do the video. So the message here is very simple thing to do with some very basic tools. Again, the only challenge I really had was with that that line behind here that you had to cut. Getting that sleeve to pull up was a son of a gun. That was a struggle. And then getting the quick connect on was also a little bit of a job. Other than that, everything was super simple. Nothing technically difficult that even a chucklehead like me couldn't handle. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Thanks for the time. Good luck.